Good evening, fam. Twisted Beard, GoodMoFos R5, here with you this evening. Hope all of you are having a lovely day. It is getting towards the end of X23 here, about 2 weeks to go, and our season's wrapping up. Thankfully, we're having a nice conclusion. First in faction, first in guild, great season, a lot of fun, and now I'm having a little more time to start cranking out some videos again for all of you. And just got done with a broad overview of Dragon Master gear and thought I would do something similar here for tech today. It is Tech Day, so it seems like a good day to do that, and this is a video I've been wanting to do for some time. So here we go tonight with a bit of a broad overview of understanding combat tech. Okay, so as opposed to going through the tech tree and saying do this one first and do this one second and then do this one halfway and then switch over to this one, kind of doing it in chart form, I'm certainly not going to do that for you tonight. There's always new techs coming out, and I want this video to have staying power in terms of giving you a general and broad understanding of what makes your combat tech tick, so to speak. So with no further ado, let's jump right into that. So the place I'd like to start is for us to jump into a battle report. Any battle report will do. So let's just scroll down a bit and we'll jump into this one, and we will go over to unit attributes. We'll scroll down a little bit and we will look at these icons here in the middle. And essentially, when you boil it down and when you cook it down, all of your various tech, all of the various things that you do to improve your combat generally, outside of maybe some special skills here and there, like, giving the enemy confusion or healing or something like that, are going to affect these areas right here. And this is essentially what wins or loses battles outside of the hero combination that you're using, the legion formation that you're using, and such like that. So they are, as it's listed here on the battle report: number 1, might; number 2, resistance; number 3, tactical might; number 4, tactical resistance; number 5, HP, hit points; number 6, combat speed; and number 7, damage. Okay, so those are the 7 factors that essentially, are the equation to the strength of your legion, right? And all the various things from troop type to tech to dragon to unit specialization are all going to affect this number. And if we click right here, we can see the different things that contribute towards each of these. Okay. So, and if we look down towards the bottom a little bit, we can see the major contributor, hands down, is technology. And in my case right here, attack 415.75%. And this was a siege battle, so I got an additional 88% siege might from tech as well. And that's where we're getting that number of 1390.96 from, okay? So keep that in mind, that all of the various combat techs affect these 7 factors. Now, sometimes when you see the tech, and in the best case scenario, when you see the tech, it's very broad, okay? So for example, might, okay? When you see a tech that is might, it's going to increase your might in all situations. It's not specific. It's not cavalry might. It's not siege defender might. It's not, non-siege might. It's not first row might, okay? And as you know, a lot of the techs are much more specific. So it's going to be, first row might, siege defender might, siege attacker might. So, that's far less broad and far less applicable. It's not applicable in all instances, whereas something like might is going to be applicable in all instances, right? So when you're looking at your techs, obviously might is better than siege might, because might is siege might, but it's also might in all the other instances as well. So I think you understand me right there. Okay, so the first thing to do is keep these 7 things in mind, know these 7 things, and know the priority of importance of these things. Okay, and if somebody wants to disagree with me, please do go ahead in the comments, and I'd love to hear all about it. But as far as I'm concerned, in order of priority, these 7 factors, the most important one is damage. And as you can see, it's the smallest number by far. It's the hardest one to find, hardest one to get. So when you do get it, it's going to have the biggest impact in terms of improving your percentage of damage overall. Increasing by 3% for might, is not much, when it's in the mix of 1,390, but 3 points in 84 is, an increase of over 3%, because we don't even have 100% points there yet. So damage is going to be your most important. So when you're looking at your techs and something improves damage, they also call it attack sometimes too, but as far as I know, damage and attack are the same thing. But damage is going to be the most important. So when you see damage, obviously that's one you want to chase, one you want to go for. It's going to have the biggest impact. After damage, the most important is going to be tactical might, number 2. Number 3 is going to be tactical resistance, and both of those are skills. And most of your kills, most of your damage is going to come from the skills versus the physical damage. So that's the one you want to pump. And as you can see, it's a smaller number than regular might and regular resistance. So when you're able to improve it, you get more bang for your buck in terms of improving the overall value that you hold for those attributes. So number 4 is going to be tactical resistance. Number 5 is going to be hit points. Number 6 is going to be combat speed. Number 5 is going to be combat speed. Number 6 is going to be might, and number 7 is going to be resistance. So most important is damage, followed by tactical might, followed by tactical resistance, followed by hit points, followed by combat speed, followed by might, followed by resistance. That's the order of priority, okay? So keep that in mind. So half the battle to understanding tech is understanding your order of priority here, okay? So let's jump out of here. Now we'll jump into tech. And sadly, and don't shoot the messenger, but the other half of understanding tech is just math. It's just math. It's just math. So you know your order of priority, and then you apply the math. It's that easy. It's that simple. That's how you determine what you want to do next, how you should be going, what's more important. That is your answer. The answer lies in the math, with one exception, which I'll get to at the very end. Okay, so let's look at that. Let's look at the math and what I'm talking about there in consideration with the first part of the video that we just went over, looking at what makes up your combat strength and the order of priority therein. Okay, so we'll click on Art of War Defense. Okay, we will click on Siege Order Cavalry. Okay, so as we can see, for me to increase 0.25% in something as specific as cavalry siege might, so it's double specific. It only is good for cavalry, and it's only good for siege. So for me to increase 1/4 of cavalry siege might, it's going to cost me 2.5K war badges. Okay, now we carry the math over. So to get a full percentage, and we know it goes up each level too, but if it were to stay the same right now, to get a full percentage increase, it would cost us 10K war badges, because 2.5K increases 0.25%. If we want to reach a full percent, we times the 2.5K by 4. That's 10K war badges for a jump of 1%. 10K war badges for a jump of 1% is what the math tells us there. If we jump down to deadly blow, this is still even the same tech tree. This one increases all soldiers' might. So this is broad application. It's not just cavalry, it's not just siege, it's everybody in everything. We see that we can jump 0.25% for 3.2K. Well, 3.2K goes into 10K just about 3 times. That's 9.6K. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a quick drink. That's 9.6K. So in this instance, to get a full increase of 1 point, we'd actually times it by 4, it would be 12.8. So 12.8K war badges to get a full percentage increase in something as broad as might versus something as specific as cavalry siege might. So to me, I would rather pay the extra 2.8K war badges and have, so an extra 25%, and have the broad application of might across the board than I would to pay, 10K, 2.8K less on the whole, and have it as specific as cavalry siege might. So if I'm looking for the most bang for my buck, it would make more sense to do deadly blow versus siege order cavalry, okay? And that's just within the same tree, right? Now, if we jump over to Faithful Guard, for example, okay? And let's look at advancing. Footman's tactical might increase. We get a full percentage point on this one, so it's a jump of 1%, and it's 15.2K. Well, as we just went over in the first part of this video, tactical might is more important than regular might by leaps and bounds, frankly, because we're talking skill damage, okay? So we can jump a full point in Footman's tactical might for 15K versus that other one we were looking at the beginning, cavalry siege might, for 10K. So I would much rather spend the 15K here for the full 1% and increase the tactical might in a one layer specific situation. So it's not just pure tactical might, it's footman tactical might, so it's one level of being specific. But in that other first one we looked at, it was 2 level of being specific. It was cavalry and it was siege. So, it was the less valuable skill, the less valuable attribute in an instance that was less applicable. Here we get the much more valuable skill with broader application. So to me, I would gladly pay the extra 5K war badges to research advancing than I would that first cavalry siege tech that we were looking at, okay? And, we could keep looking at more and more examples, but essentially that's what it boils down to. You know your priority, so it goes damage, it goes tactical might, it goes tactical resistance, it goes hit points, it goes combat speed, it goes might, and then it goes resistance. Those are the 7, that's the order of priority, and we want them as broadly applicable as possible, right? So we don't want it as specific as cavalry siege might when we can have pure might. And then you basically just look at the techs and do the math and see where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. Okay, so here, let's look at a might one again, just because it's easier to compare might to might. I'm not quite on this one yet, but I could reach this one easier. So if I wanted to gain, might, and again, this one's, one level of specific, it's footman might versus pure might, but you can see right here, I can jump 0.8% for 3K war badges right here, okay? So this would be the far better option. So, do we want to pay 10K war badges in the other tech for 1% of cavalry siege might, or would we rather pay 9K war badges here if we just did it 3 times? Would we rather pay 9K war badges here for an increase of 2.4% footman might, right? So this is only 1 level specific. The other one was 2 level specific, so this one wins in that regard. And then this one we're getting, 2.5 times more bang for our buck in terms of the amount of war badges that we have to spend versus the amount of footman might, or the amount of might that we're going to get. It would be the same for cavalry. So easy decision. Clearly, this would be the better option in terms of, getting the most bang for our buck with our war badges or our courage medals when deciding what we want to research. Okay, so again, it's just knowing that, level of attribute priority, and then taking a little bit of time to do some math, okay? And the easiest way to look at it for me is looking at it in terms of, 1%, then you get a nice round number, kind of like I was using right there in the demonstration of how I work it out in my own head of what I want to be doing. So, watch it twice if you need to. Okay, so that is 90% of it, okay? And when new techs come out and when 2 years from now, this same principle is still going to apply, okay? Until they add new combat attributes to go along with those 7, and then we have to, adjust our priority ranking because now there's an 8th or a 9th, nothing changes, okay? 2, 3, 5 years from now, it's going to be the exact same equation. You're going to reach your conclusions exactly the same way then as you are now in this video. And even if they were to add a new, and they just did actually, a new resource that's needed to push forward some of your tech, it's still going to be the same mathematical equations to decide, how you want to push and what you want to push next, okay? So that's that, and that's the part that lasts and doesn't change for a very long time to come, okay? And I guess the second part doesn't really change either. We'll get into that right now. So we decide what tech we want to do based off of where we're going to get the best bang for our buck with our war badges and our courage medals by knowing the level of priority of the 7 combat attributes, and then just doing some basic math and also taking into equation whether it's broad application or whether it's 1 level specific, 2 levels specific, and the more broad the better, okay? Outside of that, really the only other thing that you're taking into consideration generally when deciding what tech you want to be doing is within a lot of these tech trees, and it tends to be on some of these levels in the tree where there's only 1 skill out as opposed to 3 across, right? Not always, but that's usually how it is. And even when there's 1 out, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always the case. But here's what I'm getting at, is that within some of these trees, there are special skills, special bonuses, special buffs that you get that are not necessarily part of the regular combat attribute equation that allow you to do special things that you absolutely want to do. So for example, some of the techs allow you to march faster. Some of the techs allow you to heal faster. Things like that, which are a little bit outside the norm and hugely beneficial. Chasing that particular technology within the tech tree that you're looking at also helps determine your priority as well too. That's the second part of determining what you should be researching, is looking for those special techs, so to speak, and deciding which of those special techs are the most important, and then looking at what it takes to reach those special techs in terms of how cost of war badges, courage medals, and what you're going to be receiving along the way, and determining then what the best course is. So for example, okay, I have a strong castle, okay? So when Eden comes, it's my job to be at the front. It's my job to help hold the front. If somebody's in trouble, it's my job to help, okay? I'm one of the heavy hitters on my team, and I play that role, right? So that's an important thing for me. So with that in consideration, Faithful Guard, one of the newer techs, down at the very bottom, right in the middle, all by itself, like we were talking about. They usually show up in the middle and by themselves, but down at the very bottom has all-out support. You'll be able to reinforce a single castle with more troops, and it has 2 levels. And what that means is that I'm going to be able to send my more than 1 legion out to reinforce an individual castle. So if I'm understanding the tech right, and I think that I am, as opposed to just being able to send 1 legion out to reinforce a castle, once I have all-out support fully researched to level 2, I believe that I'm going to be able to send 3 legions out to each castle to reinforce it. And for me, that's huge. For the type of role that I play, that's huge. For my alliance, that's huge. For my guild, that's huge, if I'm able to do that. So that's something that I'm chasing, okay? I like Faithful Guard anyways, and one of the reasons for that is what we were talking about before in terms of prioritizing combat attributes. You get huge bonuses to your tactical might and tactical resistance in Faithful Guard. Those are much harder to come by than regular might, regular resistance, as we were looking at in the earlier part of this video. So for me, Faithful Guard makes a lot of sense to be focusing on, because it has the combat attributes that I'm looking for, and it has the special skills, special buffs, special skills that I'm looking for as well too, with my ability to reinforce faster. Here I can march faster when I'm reinforcing. That's also very nice for me. And then being able to send those additional legions to reinforce is absolutely huge, like we were talking about. So when I made my decision to focus on Faithful Guard, it was with both of those things in mind. We got attributes that are harder to get. The price for obtaining those attributes was fair in relation, when doing the math. It was quite strong in relation when doing the math, and it had the special skills. So it was a win-win-win. It was the rare skills, good value on getting those rare skills, and then as we proceed forward, getting towards the special skills. So for me, Faithful Guard is my focus until I get all the way to the end. Now that said, I did take a small break along the way when Dragon Blood Blessing came out, because I hope I can still see how much they were. No, I can't. But as you can see, there were some nice might techs right at the beginning. So they were 8.8% jumps per level, and they weren't very expensive. So it was just kind of a no-brainer to just grab those quick, because it was a nice batch of might and resistance that didn't really cost very much. Now, I'm not going to keep going hard on Dragon Blood Blessing, because the middle skills, the special skills, see this one, training speed increase, that's great. That's a special skill. That's something that's hard to find. That's something that's hugely beneficial. That's something you want to chase. So obtaining this skill is a reason for pushing your Dragon Blood Blessing, okay? But to me, in my world, for where I'm at right now, it's less important than reaching this special skill. So you need to see where you're at in your world and prioritize, which skills are more important for you in the context of what your, primary roles are in Eden and for your alliance and your castle development and all that, what's more important for you, okay? So that's essentially it in terms of how you're determining for the long haul your tech choices in terms of the priorities and what's important. You know your combat attributes, you rank your combat attributes, you do some math to see where you get the best bang for your buck with your war badges and your courage medals, and then you, look at the special skills, prioritize the special techs, and see which one is, the most important for you, and then weigh that versus where you're getting the most bang for your buck in accordance with the math we just talked about, and then let that guide you. Always. And that's the answer. And that's how you know what tech you should be working on. Okay? It's really that simple. Now, with all that said, before I end this video, I just want to say, in the early game, and these are videos for another day, but just very briefly, in the early game, it is exceedingly important that you get your zone commemoration done as soon as possible. So for early game, that's what you got to have your eye on the prize on, is getting your zone commemoration done ASAP. If you're first starting, get to zone commemoration as fast as possible and max that out as fast as possible, because it's going to give you way better rewards, and you need those resources and rewards to grow at a good rate. So early stage, you're gunning it for zone commemoration, okay? Middle stage, Lofty Warrior is where your focus should be. 1, these skills are great. You absolutely want these skills. But 2, you need to push yourself here so that you can also increase your Lofty Warrior tech specialization. This is the one tech that has this special, subcategory to it, and you need to max these skills right away so that these timers start churning, so that you can reset these skills, so that you can increase your Lofty Warrior specialization. And that's a video for another day. But in your mid game, the one you're really gunning for, that you want to get up to 100% ASAP, is Lofty Warrior, okay? And in my opinion, in the very late game, or at least where we're at right now with X23, the final tech that's, the third tech that's really the priority that you really want to push, especially if you're a heavy combat player, you do a lot of fighting in Eden and such like that, is Faithful Guard. So zone commemoration, Lofty Warrior, Faithful Guard for the early, mid, and late game. But more importantly than that, know the 7 combat attributes, do the math, proceed accordingly, okay? Lastly, I only do tech on Tech Day. I wouldn't choose tech for Free Cop Day. You're going to want to just do your tech on Tech Day, pound it all out on Tech Day. That's going to help you to be higher in the rankings, and you want to be training on Free Cop Day. And then also on Training Day, as you know, that's the day we want to be doing our unit specialization increases as well too. So Tech Day is the day that you push that, okay? So I hope that was helpful. Do let me know in the comments if you have any questions. As always, really appreciate all the positive feedback. All the support across the board has been absolutely wonderful with the new channel. Please do let us know your requests for new videos that you're hoping to see. Please do remember to like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. It helps us grow everything, which is also means a lot. And from all of us here at the GoodMoFos, until next time, kick some ass with that tech now. Be well. Appreciate you. Take care. Bye-bye.